Friends, I asked you to watch some videos about stars, so I hope you learned some things and I hope you're excited because for the next few days we're going to be talking about the stars, we're going to be talking about the sky and how the sky looks at during the day and also at night. So we're going to be thinking about this question: what can we see in the sky? So remember, when we read our stories, we always talk about some words that we might want to know before we start. So if you want to, you can get out some paper and a pencil, and you can stop the video and you can write these words with me, or you can just listen to the words and say them. So the first word that we're going to talk about is dazzling. I'm going to write it. The word is dazzling. Dazzling means something that's very bright. There were dazzling neon signs I saw outside. The next word is distance. When we think about distance, you think about something that's far away or close to you. Usually it means something farther away. The next word is gazing. Gazing means you're looking at something for a long time. So if you were looking at the stars in the sky for a long time, you would say, I'm gazing and looking at the stars. The next word is leaned. Leaned means that you are bent out or bent over something. I'm leaning over the book by my chair. The next word is planet. A planet is a huge object out in space. And our last word is tunnel. Tunnel. Tunnel is an underground or underwater passage where cars or trains could go. So let's look at our words. Remember, just like we do when we're at school, I'm going to point to the word. I'm going to say it first, then you're going to say it. Dazzling. Distance. Gazing. Leaned. Planet. And tunnel. So what are you going to do when you hear those words in our story? You're going to touch your nose. So let's talk about what we're going to listen for in our story. I want you to think about what you can see in the sky when you look up in the sky. This is a book that talks about a boy who tries to count all the stars in the sky. That would be really hard. So here's our story. So Mrs. Hoffman's going to learn how to hold this book so that you can see it and I can see it. It's called How Many Stars in the Sky, written by Lenny Hort, and the paintings and pictures are by James Ransom. Okay, look at the pictures and what do you see? Here's a boy and his dog, and they're looking out the window. Okay, let's see if I can get it right. How many stars in the sky? Mama was away that night and I couldn't sleep. Mama knows all about the sun and the stars, but she was away and I didn't want to wake Daddy. So I stared out the window asking myself, how many stars in the sky? I could count so many just from my room. I leaned out from the window and I could even count more. That was just by gazing over the backyard. How many stars? in the sky. I think I'm going to read the page and then I'll show you the pictures. So make a picture in your mind. I went outside with a pad and a pencil. I started to count. I filled up one whole page of the pad. But there were lots of stars hidden behind the trees. The house blocked out even more. The street lamp was so bright I couldn't see stars anywhere near it. How many stars in the sky? There's the boy, and he's got his paper and his pencil and his dog. Make a picture in your mind. I climbed up high into my tree house. I stared at the Big Dipper, and I counted in a great circle all around the sky. I filled up page after page on my pad. But when I got back to the Dipper, it wasn't where I remembered it. I must have been out so long that the stars had moved. Old ones had set. New ones had risen. How many stars in the sky? So the boy was talking about the Dipper. There are places in the sky where there are stars that form things like pictures and objects. Ask your mom and dad about the Big Dipper or the Little Dipper, and they might be able to even show you that one night when you're looking at stars. I climbed down from the treehouse, and there was Dad. I couldn't sleep, I said. I couldn't sleep either, he said. Your mom won't be back till tomorrow. I told him how I wanted to count all the stars in the sky. If your mama was here, Dad said, I bet she'd know. Maybe you and I can find some place where it will be easier to count them. So his dad couldn't sleep and he couldn't sleep. Does it look like the dog could sleep either? Let's see what they do. My dog hopped in the truck with us and we drove into town. The streets were quiet, but lots of street lights were burning. We could see the bright city skyline in the distance. So they went in their truck and they're driving around, looking at all the things they can see in the sky. Daddy and I counted 25 or 26 stars. He said he thought one of them was a planet, and he thought it was the planet Jupiter. This isn't a good place to see stars, I said. It's not a bad place to count them, though, he said, but it's still too hard. Let's go somewhere where it will be more easy. Why wasn't it very easy for them to count all the stars in the sky? Do you think we could ever count all the stars in the sky? We drove into the city. The big clock by the tunnel said 2:45, but neither one of us felt like sleeping. Did you hear our word? Tunnel. We parked by Mama's office. There was a department store with brightly lit displays in every window. There were street lamps on every corner. There were dazzling neon signs. Headlights flashed from a steady stream of cars. Powerful searchlights beamed from the roofs on the tall buildings. Is it very easy to see all the stars in the sky when there are so many lights? And I couldn't see any stars at all. I count exactly one, said Dad. No, wait, he said. It's an airplane. Maybe the stars just don't want to be counted, I said. We drove back through the tunnel. I was tired and I thought we were going home. But instead, Dad drove us deep into the country. Where do you think they were going? Do you see something in the sky that's really bright? There weren't any cars, there weren't any street lights, there weren't any houses. Even the moon had set. And I knew we could never count all of the stars. No matter where I looked, new ones appeared. Every time I blinked my eyes, Daddy pointed up above and showed me the Milky Way. The stars were so thick, I couldn't even tell one from another. Where did they find the most stars? Was it close to the city with all the lights? Or was it far away from the city where it was dark? We were much too tired to drive anymore, so we slept underneath the stars that night. Have you ever done that? When you've been camping or you went outside in your backyard and you slept out under the stars without a tent? Doesn't that sound fun? It was daylight when we woke up. Daddy, I said, all those stars are always out there, even when we can't see them, right? Of course they are, he said. We can try to count them again sometime. Any night you feel like counting, we can do it again, he said. You and me and Mama can all go out together. I could hardly wait to see Mama and tell her about it. In a little while she'd be back home. But now I was glad to be standing there with my dad, looking at the one star that we could see. What was the one star that they could see? Can you see the yellow at the top of the picture? What was the one star they could see? The sun. And that was the sun. Mrs. Hoffman's not so good at putting this book up. Okay, I want you to think about the story. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to get some paper. And I want you to write about our story. I want you to write a sentence. I want you to think about the boy and his dad and how they noticed a lot of things in the sky while they were trying to count the stars. Think about the things that they saw in the sky. Draw a picture of the night sky and the things that were around, maybe when they were in the city or when they drove far away from the city. What did they see? So, draw a picture for me of this night sky from the story. Think about the boy and his dad and his dog and put that in your picture. And then I want you to write a sentence about your picture. See you soon.